where I was, my arms are getting that Stuart was back back in his home base in Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing that's amazing is that in time immemorial, since businesses come and go, industries come and go, sectors come and go. I remember when we were just talking about that, my wife and I, about when videos, with VCRs. When we think about VCRs, the video cassettes, it changed us. But for every time we think about a video, whatever, we think of companies like Blockbuster. Was the video rental place in North America, Stuart? Remember to get a video, but they couldn't evolve, and the industry just basically didn't evolve. But crypto is not quite like that, but it's looked a bust somewhere along the line. Stuart, it looks like this bubble burst. What say you on this? What's going on in crypto?
Well, let's get, I'm famous for some history lessons. The very, very first lesson was your mother told you always never put all your eggs in a basket. And your financial advisor always told you never put your eggs in all the same basket. Your economics teacher taught you about not putting all your eggs in the same basket. Your banker told you don't put your eggs in the same basket. I have told you don't put all your eggs in the same basket, right? To disclaim, I'm a financial advisor. I'm giving you zero financial advice because I have to disclaim that. But we're talking about what I call a non-investable asset class today if you're practicing really, really metered investment strategies. Remember the dot bubble, right? Any .com that was listed was a multi-$100 million company. Yes, 100 million, right? Today we talk in billions. Back then we talked in 100 million. And it affected companies like Pets.com, Boo.com, AOL, Microsoft, Apple, everything, Dell, right? Cisco. But when that .com bubble blew up, it took even some of the largest companies in the sector, Dell, Cisco, just to name two giant ones that we all know, and took their stock and destroyed it for nearly 15 to 20 years in some cases. In some cases, they're still dealing with the ramifications of that dot bomb. And again, what are we talking about? We're not talking about the .com bubble. But we're eerily looking at the relationship between the Bitcoin bubble and the .com bubble. And as financial advisors and financial people, we kind of have to look at history as to get some understanding as to what happened. So if you had a coin, it was gold. Again, we all know Bitcoin. But then you got Ethereum. Then you got this. Then you got that. Then you had FTX, and yes, we picked on FTX about 10 days ago, Sam Bankman-Fried, who, by the way, is talking to regulators, and I believe is going to talk to the New York Times today. Man, his lawyer must be shitting himself. But nevertheless, there's a lot of really scary shit with all these companies. And today, BlockFi, BLOCKFI, filed for bankruptcy today because of their blaming the money they lent FTX. Okay, you have other brokers like Genesis that are trying to avoid bankruptcy, and it seems like the contagion is uncontrollable. Why is this contagion uncontrollable? Because companies that were legit are being hurt, and companies that were illegit or may have been illegit or may have had accounting practices that were not acceptable by the SEC standard as they desperately tried to fit in and show themselves as being SEC, Security Exchange Commission quality investments, that pension funds endowments, elderly, retirement funds allowed their constituents to invest in. Mistake number one, asset classes cannot swing 30% in a day and be considered an investable asset. But you could say conversely, Stuart, hang on a second. I made hundreds of millions of dollars off trading crypto. I bought massive amounts of real estate. And you know what? I'm in the green. That's great. And I'm happy for you. Unfortunately, you're not the majority of the investors in this platform, right? You're the minority, and I'm happy. And I know a lot of you who have. In fact, I still know some of you that are. Listen, people that are smart with investing follow a rule. If it goes up X%, sell X%. If it goes down X%, buy X%. There's a rule. Even Kramer, who totes on CNBC, and to just quote him for a second, he follows very predictable rules that he talks about live on television. The question is, when you talk about Bitcoin and talk about other coins, is it the same rule as you would sell and buy a bank? I don't think so. You're not buying a bank. You're buying an instrument that is an intangible. So it's not a Beanie Baby baseball card or comic book. It's something you can't feel or touch that can be stolen. It's the Wild West. It's unregulated. And the only thing that gives you your confidence that it will be redeemable is the full faith of the organization that tells you it has a value, right? But if all the contagion of all of these organizations is now up in the air, what are you going to do? So is it a buying opportunity? Is it a sell-off opportunity? Is it a lesson learned that you shouldn't buy what you don't understand? Should you not overextend yourself in an area that clearly isn't a regulated industry? Now, there are those people, conservatives, that say too much regulation is bad. Listen, for every conservative that says too much regulation is bad, I would like to take a survey of how many of them are or are not crypto buyers. Because I'll tell you something, there's a lot of people that got hurt in the last 10 days, David. And there's a lot more people that are going to be hurt because I believe this contagion is going to exacerbate. There are going to be more people that fall. Listen, the untouchable Scaramucci, a.k.a. the Mooch of Wall Street, his name has got a scarlet's letter on it. Bankman-Fried and all of the people that gave donations to, they all got scarlet letters. And you know what? We cannot forget those people who took donations. I call them payoffs. That's a real slanderous word. But when you go and you give money to politicians that help whitelist you, that help promote you, that help open gate and give you legitimacy, I got to tell you, you got liability. You sleep amongst the pigs in which you're sleeping with. You catch fleas when you hang around with bad dogs. Again, I go back to our mothers. They taught us very important lessons. And if you don't have a mother, I'm sorry. Your father should have taught you the same lesson. So let's not be racist or sexist. Your parents needed to teach you that if it looks too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. So going back to the very beginning of our broadcast, which now almost go 2 years, right? Next quarter is our 2nd year anniversary. I've spoken on several occasions about coins. And I told you then, I told people in lectures, I tell people all the time, I love the concept. I believe it eventually will be a prevailing concept. And there will be a battle, as David said, blockbusters, Netflix, beta, VHS, if you're as old as me, okay? Laserdisc, the resurgence of Laserdisc. Things change. But again, it's like a good cruise ship. Why am I using a cruise ship? Because its inaugural trip was typically out of South Florida, if it's Royal Caribbean, and it's at sea for 40 years. Maybe unless it's the Titanic and it sinks. But it's got many ports of call, and you can pick up that boat in any port that it stops. So just like crypto and just like all these indexes, buyer beware. Right? David, do you got anything to add on this? I went now 11 minutes and you're quiet. Like, David, I know I've been gone and you've been talking for the last 45 minutes, but brother, I mean, tell me you feel this. You're in Canada.
Well,
you know
no,
people with investable
no,
assets.
listen, it is the world that I'm in. You're in the world of finance, and I'm in the world of cybersecurity. And if you want to talk about these guys want more than anything else, was crypto, because crypto was untraceable. And crypto had all the criminals love. I've got a value. I've got some sort of inherent value. Trace me. It's wonderful. And this is something that we're seeing more and more in hiding from, political entities, criminal gangs. And this is where I have a lot of this, is that it's a wild west that doesn't have the, loves regulations. I think sometimes governments get way too involved in our lives. But this is something that has to have a global understanding, not some loosey-goosey crap that, it's like, oh, we don't want government intervention. I got it. But without government intervention, what you just said now, a pure form of anarchy, where, once upon a time, its value was at the I get it. It's in the thousands of dollars, but it's a wild. I know that one Canadian politician here wanted to bring it in. I know of other politicians. Theory behind crypto makes a hell of a lot of sense, but the practicality out of me, and as someone who lives in the cybersecurity world, and I watch what people will crypto and whatever, and there's no way for you to get it back. There is no way for you to. I'm worried and I'm nervous, which is why, you know what? I still like the old, hard tangible assets, and I will still not invest in crypto. And that's me personally, bust type of scenario. And I'm not interested in that kind of wild swing where speculation. Let's inflate the price to a ridiculous amount. Miami right now has got egg on his face because it's, like you said, we're changing the name of the arena.
But paying its employee and also paying employees on crypto. I mean, there's a lot of companies that were, the millennials were saying, hey, man, I want to get paid in crypto. I don't want to get paid in dollars. And you know what? A lot of these people are now paying the price.
Real estate developers are taking crypto as deposits. We see why crypto, the madams in Nevada were taking crypto so that their clients would be, anonymity. Again, the theory behind crypto sounds very appealing. One, watching over the rules, the stronger ones, the weaker ones get hurt. That's what's gonna, and I think that's why crypto is such. So do I think this is a bubble ready to burst? I'm not sure. Into something more solid, but today it looks to me like something's going to burst.
All right, David, we're going to have to wrap up this quarter hour. Guys, if you want to hear more from us, tune in, give us more messages. And look, guys, we don't have to talk about politics. We don't have to talk about anything that's doing with Trump, Biden, Harris, or anybody. There's so much information out there. Guys, you need to pay attention. You need to hear about more of these subjects. Tune in, guys. Love you, David. I'm happy I'm back. Do you want to wrap up and say goodbye to everyone out there?
Listen, folks, we're not. I got to tell you, I want to give a shout out to, was on his show last week, and I got to tell you, if you have a chance to listen to Howie, True Talk Radio, he's on there, and late at night, he's got a phenomenal guy. Please take the time to listen to him. And again, we're on the podcast, and we are growing. We love you. Have yourselves a great week. We'll see you. Cheers.
Say goodbye, Dave.